Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a selfish giant. He was so selfish that he never wanted to share anything with anybody. He would always say, "Mine, mine, everything is mine." One day the selfish giant went out into his garden. His garden was very beautiful. There were lovely flowers everywhere, and there was a sparkling fountain in the center of it. The giant liked to sit by the fountain and watch the water sparkle in the sun. But one day he noticed that some children were playing nearby and they were getting too close to his garden. So the giant came up with a plan. He took a big stick and made a deep cut in the trunk of the oldest and biggest tree in his garden. Then he stood back and waited. And when the tree started bleeding, the giant laughed and said, "See, this tree belongs to me. Now you can't play near my tree anymore." And the children had to go away sadly. For many days, the giant enjoyed having all the space in his garden to himself again. But one day he heard some more children playing nearby. They were playing a game in which they pretended to be little birds flying around. And the giant thought to himself, "I wish I could fly away like those birds and be free from these worries." And as he watched them play, an idea popped into his head. He ran inside his house and got a ladder. Then he climbed up the tallest tree in his garden and climbed onto its highest branches. And from up there he felt very happy because he was higher than the clouds and the wind whispered secrets in his ear. Then suddenly the giant noticed a little bird that had flown up to the tree and perched on a leaf right next to him. The giant had never been so close to a bird before, and he noticed that it was wearing a tiny golden ring on its leg. And the giant couldn't help but ask, "Why are you wearing such a beautiful ring, little bird?" The bird replied, "This ring is not just a decoration, it is a magic ring. If you are kind enough to help me, I will grant you 3 wishes." The giant thought for a moment. Can I really have 3 wishes? Wow, that would be amazing. But then he became greedy and asked, "Actually, I want 5 wishes." The bird replied, "You can have 5 wishes if you are willing to do something for me. You must allow me to live in the hollow of this tree and take care of me and protect me. If you agree, I will grant you your 5 wishes." The giant thought about it and decided that it was a fair deal, so he agreed. And the bird flew down and perched on the giant's shoulder. The first thing the giant wished for was to have even more trees planted in his garden, so that he would have plenty of shade on hot days. But while the bird was granting his first wish, the giant thought, "Wait a minute, I don't need more trees. What I really need is a beautiful house where I can live comfortably." So the giant shouted, "Stop! I change my wish. I don't want more trees. I want a beautiful house instead." The bird replied, "Very well. Since you have changed your wish, you only have 4 left. Think carefully before you ask for your next wish, because once a wish has been granted, it cannot be changed." The giant thought for a moment. A house is a good start, but I am also very tired of being so lonely. I want to have lots of friends who will always play with me." And the bird granted his wish. Suddenly the giant wasn't alone anymore. He had lots of friends to play with. But after a while, the giant thought to himself, "Playing with these small children is boring. I need friends who are as big as me." So he shouted, "Stop! I change my wish. I don't want to play with children anymore. I want to have giant friends to play with." The bird replied, "Very well. You now have 3 wishes left." And the giant thought for a moment. Having giant friends is a good idea. But I am also tired of living in a house. I need a magnificent castle instead." And the bird granted his wish. And the giant was very happy in his new castle. But one day the giant looked out of his window and saw the children playing in the garden below. They were no longer playing at being little birds, but they were pretending to be giants. And they were having so much fun. The giant wanted to join them, but he knew that he couldn't fit through the door if he tried to bend down to their size. So he called out to the children and asked, "How can I play with you?" One of the children replied, "If you want to play with us, you have to become small." And the giant thought, "Oh no, I don't want to become small. I want to stay a giant." But then he became greedy again and said, "No, wait, I actually want to become even bigger than I am now." And the bird immediately flew away and perched on the giant's shoulder again. And it said, "You have 1 last wish. You may use it wisely." The giant thought about it. Being a giant isn't all that fun. I get lonely and nobody wants to play with me. Becoming smaller might actually be better. So the giant said, "I want to become as small as this little ant." And the bird waved its magic wand and poof, the giant shrunk down to the size of an ant. The giant was very sad because he missed his old life. He spent his days crawling around his garden and looking for food.
At.
But one day he met a wise old turtle. And when the turtle learned about the giant's story, she said, "Don't be sad, your new size might actually be better for you. Now you can see how beautiful things are up close. Look at this flower. Don't you think it is beautiful?" The giant looked at the flower and realized that it was indeed beautiful. And he continued his walk in the garden, and soon he found a sparkling stream, and he dipped his toes into the water, and he felt refreshed and cool. And then he sat down under one of the trees and looked up at the leaves in the sky, and he felt peaceful. And he realized that being small wasn't so bad after all. From that day on, the giant explored his garden and discovered so many beautiful things that he had never noticed before. And he wasn't lonely anymore, because the animals became his friends. They would play hide and seek with him, and they would tell him stories about the forest, and he would listen, and he would learn so much from them. And the giant became a much kinder and wiser creature. The end.